gamers, gals, my non-binary pals. What the fuck was I doing? Anyways, what up? It's your boy, Stevie. We're here to do a little bit of a react lording to my favorite client. Just kidding. He's pretty up there though. That's my goat, bro. Good old Joshua Schmitterson. He recently posted two little videos. One was the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCGS problems, and the other one, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not dead. And you could definitely tell that one of these is a lot more engagement baity. So, I'm going to be breaking this into two videos because A, I like money, and B, I'm tired. I gotta do the pose. I'm tired. Anyways, let's give a first little watch to his video. We're going to be watching this on a bit of a faster speed because, oh my god, it's 23 minutes and I am not built like that, and it's 5 a.m. actually. So we are going to be jumping into that. All right, let's dive in.
Duelists, I'm tired. I hate that I have to make this video right now, but I need to vent. And I'm not tired because I've been streaming for 20 hours this weekend, watching watch partying YCS Anaheim with you guys together when it went until like 4 a.m. in the morning for me both days. I'm tired of non-games in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I want to talk about that. And the reason why I want to talk about that right now is because I felt like YCS Anaheim was one of the worst viewing experiences I've had in a long time when it comes to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Event, maybe ever.
Wrong. My feature match was really cool, and it was probably the only good feature matches.
And I'm not talking production quality because that was pretty good, but I'm talking the actual gameplay, and I want to discuss that. I need to vent a little bit about the TCG. Of course, I've recently voiced some concerns with Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and why I'm taking a break from that at the moment. And I was pretty hyped to get into more TCG content and play more TCG myself. But I'm not going to pretend like the TCG is some magical wonderland without any problems or any issues. So I'm here today to talk about that. And maybe that's also why I was very disappointed, especially this weekend from YCS Anaheim, because I was looking forward to the TCG so much, because it was going to be my escape from Master Duel, and because I was actually a big fan of this format going into it. You know, like the pure Draco Tail, pure Yami, pure Mitsurugi three-way format like was actually looking pretty nice for me, and I had a great time at YCS Lille last week. But it feels like I was watching an entirely different format at YCS Anaheim because all those quote-unquote fair decks, it felt like they didn't exist, or even worse, they existed, but they got completely clapped up by broken floodgates and broken combo decks, and it's a problem. And I want to talk about a little bit why I think that is. So we're going to start chronologically. We're going to start in the finals because that is the match that has the most eyes on it in a tournament, and we're going to get into some other examples too. But for
Josh was so scared to see you in front of a mic. It was very funny. There were so many things I wanted to say, so many things I wanted to do. They grilled us backstage. If you were ever on a feature match, you will know exactly what I mean. They're like, do not say this, do not say this, do not say that, do not say A, do not say B, do not say C, keep it rated E, do not reference this, do not reference that, do not say this. They were like, especially you, do not mention your fucking YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, I won't. Shout out Team Blunder. There were like 500 things where they're like, do not mention. Like they were like, keep it as normal as possible. I couldn't even hit the fucking gritty. I was pissed. But they let me hit the Kamen Rider pose, so, you know, ball up top. Yeah, I couldn't shout out fucking Lovely Labs giant milkers. Unlucky me.
YCS Anaheim, let me set the stage for you here, okay? YCS Anaheim finals is between Kamal Crooks and Cameron Neal, two of the most accomplished Yu-Gi-Oh! Players of all time, who are both capable of playing some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! you will probably ever witness. Instead, what we get in the finals is the following thing. Kamal wins the dice roll, makes this board through two hand traps because he self-drolls away the Fuva and then is still able to make this board under his own roll through the opponent's Ghost Spell on top of that. Locking Cameron Neal completely out of playing the game in game one, which results in Cameron Neal, even though the finals is untimed, so they have no incentive to scoop early, to just pack up his cards immediately once he draws for turn, so not a single card was played on Cameron's turn.
What's very funny was they actually like talked to the Shadow Demons at like just like in general, and I was like, hey, is like Droll ever getting banned? The answer is no, because some decks are just unstoppable without Droll. A very easy example, and the example that they used, is like Dark World. But think about trying to deal with fucking Ryzeal or Mitsurugi without the existence of Droll. Like, yes, Droll is a very, like, stupid, uninteractive floodgate where you just can't do anything about it, and it just says, go fuck yourself, Lamau. But at the same time, certain decks just become unstoppable monsters if Droll does not exist within a format. Like, that's just the unfortunate reality. Yeah, Droll is a necessary evil. Absolutely, unfortunately so. That's just like the answer that they gave us. So, my fucking bad, bro. You can deal with these decks if they're unstoppable. What is a ban list for? The ban list is a marketing tool that has multiple layers of politics behind it. Konami of America versus Konami of Japan. There are infinite layers to who answers to who and what says what and who has the final say on certain decisions. The unfortunate reality is just like, sucks to be you. The unfortunate reality is that the TCG and OCG have very, very, very different ideas on what Yu-Gi-Oh should look like and what is a problem versus what is a solution.
In this game. It's an Omni Negate through Cyber Dragon Infinity. It's a Ripper Hand Trap Negate. It's Tristaros. And there's an Artifact Mjolnir, which for those of you that don't know what this card does, you summon it to your opponent's side of the field during your turn using Imperial Princess Punkri, and it locks the opponent out from special summoning anything but artifacts for 2 turns. So Cam, unable to play the game in game 1, sure, we go to game 2. Game 2, Cam makes this board, which is basically the full Mitsurugi board and the full Yami board in one deck through an Izuna, which causes Kamal to draw his card for turn and pack up his cards and scoop.
Sick.
0 cards played on turn 2 once again. Game 3, Kamal goes first. Same thing. Starts comboing. At this point, Cam doesn't even get a turn in this match because Cam uses a hand trap, gets called by the grave, knows what's coming, packs up his cards and leaves.
Jesus Christ.
The finals of this YCS was 3 turns. 0 cards were played on turn 2, and 2 of the best players in the game basically didn't play any Yu-Gi-Oh with each other, which was pretty frustrating. I was pretty disappointed at this point. Of course, I was watching this live. It was also 4 a.m. in the morning for me, so I decided to just go to bed, wake up, and see how I feel about it. But I still feel pretty bad about it. And I think we're going to start a discussion here on Floodgates, broken combos, and I think it all falls under one category, which is non-games in Yu-Gi-Oh! And when I say non-games, this is what I mean. I mean a game basically not happening because one of the players does not have a chance from the beginning. Like, it is not worth playing this game for Cameron Neal. He does not need to be there. He does not need to be part of game 1 and game 3 here. This might as well be a combo tutorial on YouTube by Kamal, where he just shows the cool combo he's found with...
That's basically it. Like, I mentioned this in the video, where I'm, like, complaining about the state of Yu-Gi-Oh! And, like, my issues with Advanced, but... for the most part, decks have reached a point, again, even after all the bannings and all the solutions that Konami has tried, decks have again reached a point where uninteractive combo swap is the name of the game. Are you a fan of Genesis? Have you ever wanted to play a tournament with real prizing on the line that wasn't a Steam gift code? Have you ever wished that Farfa's tournament was actually a best of 3? Well, today I'm proud to announce the start of the Blunder Bash, a community Genesis tournament with an amazing prize for first place, the official YCS Anaheim Genesis game mat. It fell off the back of a truck, so stop asking questions. Tournament structure is a standard best of 3 100-point format held on Dueling Book on October 25th, 11 a.m. PST. It will be hosted in my Discord server, which you can find in the description. There will be a limited entry event of 32 players where we are looking to feature unique decks. In fact, we'll be doing our best to make sure that there's only one version of every deck/variant to be hand selected and picked. So there's only going to be one Vanquish Soul player, like amongst our midst, God bless. So if you want your best chance at being selected, pick something fun and unique, but don't be afraid to go all out. Check out the Discord server down below for more details. Now, back to the video. Decks have become so resilient at pushing through negation, decks are able to abuse certain types of interaction in order to insulate themselves versus potentially turn-ending hand traps. Think of like being able to droll yourself under Fua, or just being able to be a sack and open call by the grave to deal with like certain cards, or just decks being naturally avoidant of hand traps, like Yummy placing Mignon from deck instead of adding it, so it plays around Ash. Unfortunately, that is just the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it is just very disappointing to have watched this finals and be like, this is Yu-Gi-Oh, huh? One of my friends, he was, when we were like packing up to leave when the finals was airing, one of his friends was like, no, I came here to the YCS to watch the finals, and like that's what I'm gonna do. And my friend was just like, dude, it's an FTK meter. One person's going to FTK the board with Mjolnir, and the other person's gonna make an unbreakable combo board, which the other person literally can't play through because Herald of the Arclight is fucking broken. Like, there's just literally nothing you could do at certain points. And guess what? He was like, no, I'm gonna watch this. And fucking 10 minutes later, the finals ended, and he asked for a ride home, and we said no, because he was a fucking dumbass and wanted to watch the finals. It's just very frustrating, very silly.
Chris Strong K9, or I mean, he probably hasn't found it, but it's been around for a while now. And I don't know, of course this is subjective, but I don't think I'm in the minority here when I say I don't think this is good Yu-Gi-Oh! I do not feel like this is enjoyable to watch. I also don't think it's enjoyable to play this type of Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially if you're on the losing side. But even on the winning side, I feel like it feels kind of dull to do this. It feels like playing solitaire. And I probably wouldn't be making this video if this was the only instance of this happening, you know, because maybe, like, I don't know, Kamal got lucky and Cam got unlucky, and this just, like, non-games happen in card games sometimes, you know, sometimes you just draw a very good hand or a very bad hand, or you just happen to have all the answers or whatever, you know, a Yu-Gi-Oh game being a non-game occasionally is fine, but this weekend, the coverage was full of it, like, and it's not just broken combos and locks, it was everything, it was floodgates in every shape and form, you know, like, we see, I just want to go through some examples. I brought up some examples from the YCS coverage. Once again, we see the Yami Mitsurugi deck, which is another topic I wanted to get into, is how Yami and Mitsurugi individually, I think, are pretty fine archetypes. But when, for some reason, they work together and make both boards at the same time, which is ludicrous in my opinion, which just teaches us a lesson about archetype design and archetypes needing proper locks. And I want to reiterate something, because a lot of people, we've seen a lot of Mitsurugi hybrids popping up, especially in recent weeks. And I want to say that I think both things can be true. On the one hand, these inventions, these deck lists, like the Triff list that he won the YCS with, or the Jeff Jones list that he played at this YCS, where he combined K9 with Mitsurugi because he found a bridge how K9 Noroi can be a starter for Mitsurugi, and basically you do the full K9 combo, including Ripper, and then you get the Mitsurugi combo on top of that. These innovations, these deck building, like, this is crazy impressive. These are impressive creations. The Triff deck is also very impressive. Finding those synergies between the Nouvelle cards and the Mitsurugi cards and the Yami cards is nice. That is cool. That is an interesting.
I do agree with you, Josh. It is very cool that Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, technology in the mind has evolved to the point where, like, you know, people are able to enjoy this game at a much higher level compared to, you know, previous formats, because people are discovering new technologies, like making, like, the AK-1000 to, like, search the Mitsurugi, whatever it's called. Very, very cool. However, at the same time, there does just eventually come the question of, like, how much should a deck realistically should be doing? Like, how, like, is there a fundamental game design philosophy where Yami should just not be ending on Mitsurugi cards? Is there, like, a fundamental game design idea where, you know, Yami should not be, like, playing sofa core cards because, you know, Yami is kind of designed to be, like, this relatively pure archetype with, like, how the links lock you? At the same time, it's just like, oh, okay, I'll go, like, fuck myself. Like, it's very, very frustrating to try and play, like, it's very, very frustrating to play anything that's not, like, one of the top 3 decks. Like, I mentioned this a lot, but, like, currently, if you're not playing, like, one of the top 3 decks, you better be doing something disgustingly unfair. Otherwise, you're, like, wasting your time. You are never going to consistently beat the top decks. Like, you might get a little lucky every now and then, but if you're playing fucking Labyrinth, like, God fucking speed, going, like, X3 drop, bro. Like, you're just going to be playing a fundamentally issued deck, and you're gonna see that, like, these top decks, they could just play through everything and search everything and kill you through anything, and you're just gonna be like, this is stupid. Like, why do these decks do so much? Very frustrating.
Interesting part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck building for sure, but the gameplay it provides is not interesting, because you make these boards and you won the game, congratulations. And it's not just these combo decks, it's also, I mean, this exact match, literally fast forward a couple minutes, this is the board that Mitsurugi made, going first. We activate Dimensional Fissure, we search Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo with Gallant Granite, we normal summon it, and we have an Omni Negate trap for the Lightning Storm. I think this is a problem, and I think it's been a problem for a long time, and I'm honestly getting frustrated with the like, what's it called? Just their unwillingness to do anything about this. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been pretty vocal about my my dislike of some recent archetype designs, especially in 2024. But a badly designed archetype does not typically discourage me from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because archetypes come and go. You know, like, sure, they made Snake Eyes, I didn't like the format, but Snake Eyes is gone now. And that's always what happens, of course, because new archetypes get printed, they want us to play the new archetypes, so eventually the old archetypes get hit. That is natural in Yu-Gi-Oh! So a couple bad archetypes don't get me personally discouraged, because I know, or at least I usually believe in the fact that, you know, better times will come. You know, you don't like this certain archetype right now, there's going to be better archetypes in the future, which is true at the moment. I think 2025 archetype design, for the most part, is pretty nice. You know, I like the Justice Hunters archetypes, except for the fact that Ripper is just promoting hand trap negates in combos. But, like, you know, I'm a fan of Pure Mitsurugi, I like Pure Yami, I love Draco Tail. Like, the archetypes in 2025 are cool. But what's the point of having fair archetypes when the decks that are winning are the decks that are doing this? And even the fair archetypes, quote unquote, are not designed carefully enough, so they have synergies with, like, you know, searchable Fossil Dyna, and they can slap Dimensional Fissure and everything because that card is legal. And I don't know, man. And it's not even just the top meta decks, and it's not just a few examples. I have a couple prepared. You strap in. Top 8 of this YCS. Alex Bergeron against Steven Trifonowski. Once again, 2 players probably capable of producing some very, very high quality Yu-Gi-Oh! What happens? Alex wins the dice roll, goes first with Onomat Ryzeal, a rogue deck, mind you, pretty much, tier 2, basically. Goes first, uninterrupted. 4 Material Detonator Eclipse Twins attached. Ryzeal trap face down. Ryzeal cross up on the board, which is already a respectable pure Ryzeal board. You might think that's really strong. But that's not it. We've also hand-looped 2 cards with Evil Swarm Ouroboros. That's why 2 cards are in Trift's graveyard here. And we've also searched Arch Nemesis Protoss, a card that lets you declare any attribute, basically, and your opponent is unable to use that attribute. So
and there's like one format that I could describe as like, this is a format where your engine being able to lead into unfun bullshit is your win condition. It is this format. I think like we kind of saw it with like the based deck with like the Rose Dragons and like the Artifact Lock with like DP or whatever, or we saw like someone with like Prank Kids and that deck just making a fucking Link 2 to make like DP or whatever. Like sure, that was like kind of stupid, but this is like a deck. This is like a format, or like arguably like the last couple formats have very much felt like your deck's primary win condition is not enough. You should be doing something stupid and unfair on top of it. Sometimes it's a floodgate, sometimes it's not, but the fact that people are just, again, regressing to, haha, I'm just going to summon a floodgate or hand rip you for 10 bajillion is very, very unfun and uninteractive and just like very stupid overall.
We on top of that also have hand rip for 2 and a floodgate and a full Raziel board. Game 2, Trift goes first and wins the game off of the back of 2-dimensional barriers over the course of multiple turns. It's hard to convey this in one screenshot, and I didn't want to watch through the entire thing, but double-dimensional barrier essentially lets Trift beat cards like Droll and Lock Bird in this game too. But we saw very little actual gameplay from this. We saw a Yummy combo on turn 1 under Droll that got met with an evenly matched, and what could have been an interesting game maybe after was met with double D barrier into top deck Habakiri, and then the Mitsurugi combo finished the game. And then game 3, same story. Goes first, double hand rip with Ouroboros, puts up Protoss, puts up Cross, puts up an Omni Negate counter trap for Onomat that we also searched. We're going first, and Trift tries to play into it because there's no timer, and it might as well try because it's the last match or the last game of your tournament if you lose, but there was no real Yu-Gi-Oh being played. He just activated a couple of cards, got them all negated, or they didn't matter because he was under Protoss and then lost. And it's pretty disheartening, honestly. And we also saw, for example, reigning world champion Julian Quejon, round 3 feature match, plays against pure Mitsurugi. So I'm like, okay, Mitsurugi against Draco Tail, that's a pretty hype matchup. We got a pretty good game 1 here, admittedly, and that's another topic because most of these things, not all of them, but a lot of these things are happening post-side, which is why I feel like the side deck as a concept could probably be reevaluated as well, because let's be real here, the side deck is a cool concept, but people are just using it to side deck the most crazy auto wins in the game, because why wouldn't they? Let's be real. Let's not hate the players for playing these cards, okay? Like, if I can activate Dimensional Barrier to just completely win a game, why wouldn't I? So we see Julian going first in game 2, gets hit with a Dimension Shifter, can't play the game. So what do you do if you can't play the game? Yeah, right. You set a Dimensional Barrier and make it so that your opponent can't play the game, and then win the turn after, because now you're basically going first with the battle phase. And in game 3, Hanzi here on Mitsurugi activates Dimensional Fissure, doesn't have a play next to it even, but the Dimensional Fissure eventually is enough to win him the game. And Julian doesn't matter. Like, the reigning champion, you lose to Dimensional Fissure pass because it doesn't matter who you are and how good you are. When your deck loses to Dimensional Fissure, you are not able to play the game. You can't show us how good you are at playing the game because you are not allowed to play the game. And the funniest in quotation marks, is what happened right after this feature match. I'm gonna show you what happened. So they go back to the casters after the winner's interview, and then this happens. There's a backup feature, by the way.
We have our bonus feature match going on right now, so we're going to jump into some more Yu-Gi-Oh action. So let's just jump right into it. It looks like we are in game number 3. We have Tamir taking on Jesse, and Tamir's playing a deck that you're a pretty big fan of.
Skill.
Spoilers. Tamir won this game. Different dimension ground, another entry into the dimension family, you know. Within the span of 10-15 minutes, we saw multiple games decided, multiple turns being skipped by the entire array of dimension cards. You know, Dimension Shifter was used to skip Julian's first turn, skip the turn right back with Dimensional Barrier, won game 3 off of the back of Dimensional Fissure, backup feature match, looks like an interesting board state, immediately 2 seconds into the match, a different dimension ground is flipped, the game ends.
Should have been me.
And this was really, for me, overshadowing all of the good Yu-Gi-Oh that can be played in this current format. And was played at this YCS. There probably was a lot of good Yu-Gi-Oh being played at the YCS, but the majority of the things that we saw were this. And, I was very disappointed because I had high hopes in this format. I was and still am a big fan of some of the recent ban list decisions that they've made. But the problem is that it doesn't matter how good you handle certain archetypes or how well you address certain problems if you leave these problems completely unaddressed. And I don't know how many ban list predictions, how many ban list wish lists in a row now I've mentioned cards like Dimensional Barrier. And it's just not happening. And look, cards like Dimension Shifter, there can be only one. Rivalry of the Warlords, all of those cards limited at 1 at the moment are pretty frustrating. And I still don't understand why they're at 1, but them being at 1 at least means we don't see them very often. You know, every once in a while, a Dimension Shifter pops up on stream, and I'm like, why is this legal? But I guess a Rivalry pops up, same thing or whatever. But at the moment, we're in a format where Dimensional Barrier basically hits every single deck that's playable, and so everybody feels like everyone's playing 3 Barrier and 3 Thrust. So it feels almost like there's more games being played under Floodgates post side right now than without Floodgates. I'm pretty sure. Like it's actually insane. And the thing that makes it so weird to me is because I cannot think of a reason. I don't know why. Like, because typically whenever I have discussions like this, you know, people throw arguments out there like, oh, corporate greed or whatever, they just want your money. Why is this? This is not making them money. This is making the game unattractive to play. People that already...
The answer, for the most part, is that Konami likes having unfun buttons to exist. Like, the actual... It's so fucked up to describe, but auto-win buttons are a lucrative idea to keep players in the game. Like, if a game was like it's very, very weird to describe, but if a game like Yu-Gi-Oh was solely able to be won or lost off of only pure skill, think of like tier limit format, for example, the game would just be too daunting for most casual fans. Like, most casuals don't want to have to study rocket science, or they don't have to study like a 500-page like Mitsurugi Yummy spreadsheet in order to have to play Yu-Gi-Oh. That is just not an appealing process to most people, and people just want to, at times, have a very easy auto-win fun button. And as a result, these cards, you know, they just exist to just scam the shit out of people. Now, obviously, if some of them are just objectively too broken, or they have just such overarching application that there's nothing you can do about them, in most scenarios, they have like Summon Limit or Mystic Mine, like, yes, these cards will eventually get banned. But for the most part, most Floodgates exist because, fuck it, bro, we gotta throw like the shitters a bone, me included. And like, I would not be surprised if we saw like Fossil Dynapachycephalo like banned on the list in the future, because that's a card that has basically no counterplay. It's a card that affects basically every deck, and it being so searchable in a format where your normal summon is not always needed for your combo is just very frustrating, very stupid.
People play Yu-Gi-Oh are frustrated by this. At least, I mean, I don't want to speak for every single person in the community, but I feel like the overwhelming majority would like those cards to be gone because we want to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and these cards don't let us play Yu-Gi-Oh. But like, which archetype is selling because Dimensional Barrier is legal? Which archetype is selling because Dimensional Fissure is legal and whatnot? Like, it feels like for every archetype, if you can name a synergy with a Floodgate, you can name 5 Floodgates that kills it. Like, it's just not fun. And then, this does not... I personally... Look, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for 20 years, but I cannot imagine anyone who isn't into Yu-Gi-Oh at the moment watching this YCS. Game 1 finals, you know, you don't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh. You watch this, you see the player going first doing Solitaire for some time. Player going second scoops. Other way around, Cameron does some Solitaire, Kamal scoops. Kamal does some Solitaire and Cameron scoops. Who wants to play Yu-Gi-Oh after this if you're not playing Yu-Gi-Oh already? Who's picking up the game after seeing this? I don't know. Maybe a few people, but I feel like it could be so much more if they actually played interesting Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, if you understand what's going on here, you know this is pretty bad. And if you don't understand what's going on here, I feel like the majority of people would also think this is pretty bad. Because it is very clear here that the player going second has no control in this game whatsoever, no say in the outcome of this game whatsoever. I don't know, I just needed to vent about that. I wanted to put my frustration out there, and I just want you guys to understand that this is coming from a place of love for this game. I feel very passionate about this because I just recently, you know, I'm taking a break from Master Duel right now because I felt like the TCG is so much better, has so much more potential, and I stand by that. The TCG is, at the moment, still a better format than Master Duel. This is not the full picture, of course. There is a lot of games where people play pure Draco Tail, pure Mitsurugi, pure Yami that are pretty fun when those cards aren't involved, but it could be so much better. Like, why do I have to deal with this being a thing when we could have more good games? You know, why is it only a certain percentage of games that are good? Why can't we maximize that number by getting rid of these cards? And it's like, first of all, I also want to say that I don't want to take away from Kamal's YCS win, 6th YCS win here, by the way, which is crazy. Incredible achievement, but I felt pretty bad that after the finals was done, I didn't really feel anything but disappointment in this format. Like, it could have been such a good match of Yu-Gi-Oh, but it was this. And I don't know, like, it's not like they don't know these cards aren't the problem. If you look at Genesis format, by the way, which, by the way, banger Genesis feature matches over the course of the weekend. Genesis is looking mighty fine, especially in comparison right now. Dimensional Barrier is 100 points in Genesis format. Weird. Protoss, 100 points in Genesis format as well. You name it. A lot of more niche Floodgates are 100 points in Genesis format, you know?
Again, the reason why all these Floodgates have such high points, and even like the bad Floodgates, like And the Bad Play It On, or Angel 07, the reason why these like really bad cards have like 100 points is because, for the most part, Konami of America recognizes that unfun cards are unfun. Who could have foreseen this? Like, who could have realized that not being able to special summon is not a fun experience? Who would have realized that not being able to do X thing or Y thing or whatever it's called? It is not a fun experience for players to enjoy, and because this is one that is relatively free from the politics that go into creating ban lists that have to collaborate with Konami of Japan, you are able to create a format that is overall much more interactive and much more enjoyable relative to, like, you know, whatever the fuck happens in the OCG. Like, shout out to Triple Maxi, bro. That is just the reality. And I'm really, really glad that Genesis exists. I think it is an amazing, amazing format that has kinks that can be pretty easily hammered out.
Even Eschatos is on here. It's almost like they understand. Someone somewhere knows that these cards don't provide fun gameplay, but somehow they're legal in the TCG. And searchable for the most part. You know, Protoss super easily accessible. The Artifact Lock super easily accessible. Dimensional Barrier is at 3, and you have 3 copies of Thrust to punish people for hand trapping you, for trying to interact with you. How dare you stop my combo? I'm going to Thrust for a D-Barrier real quick to make sure you can't play. It's rough. It's honestly rough. I felt pretty discouraged this morning when I woke up after this weekend, because I'm thinking, like, we have YCS Bologna in 6 weeks. No major changes to the format. People are already throwing words like emergency ban list through the room, which, I mean, I feel like it would be very welcome, but I don't know how likely it is. And I just wanted to voice my concerns, because I think this is pretty discouraging, because this is not related to many of the archetypes. It's mostly related to like, people have been asking for Dimensional Barrier to be banned since 2017. That's 8 years, and nothing's happened. We continuously voice concerns about these cards, and I don't want to say nothing happens, because some of these cards were hit, but it feels like they're just not being harsh enough on these cards, because there's always something to replace these cards. Some of these cards only go to 1. Some of these cards are banned way too late. And it's weird. It's weird to me that basically we're just playing turn skip and FDKs, what felt like at this YCS like 50% of the time. I'm repeating myself at this point, but I'm very passionate about this topic because I want to play the TCG so much. But right now, I'm questioning whether this is going to change.
It's just stupid.
Because I'm realizing this has been a thing for a long time now, besides the archetypes, you know, like, we can discuss whether Mitsurugi should have had better locks, which, yes, it should have. Like, Mitsurugi plus Yami, in terms of gameplay, should not go together. These two decks are fine individually, but when you mash them together, they're too powerful. So that's something they need to take better care of in the future. But this is something you can handle with archetype design. Just like, okay, this was messed up. Mitsurugi should have had a reptile lock or something, but just design better archetypes in the future. All right, you know, these are, like I said earlier, archetypes come and go. But the philosophy behind not handling floodgates and searchable locks and crazy combos properly, pretty frustrating. Pretty frustrating, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that just felt like a whole lot of Genesis advertisement over the course of the weekend, because...
Yep, it is crazy how many people I talked to who were like, yeah, I'm going to Pittsburgh just to play Genesis. Yes, I'm going to like ABC just to play Genesis. I'm not really interested in attending the main event. I'm just going to do side events and farm tickets. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it is just very silly to look at an event and have it just be like, this shit is so annoying. It is just annoying, it is frustrating, and just a headache overall. And it sucks. It sucks to talk with, like, my friends who are Konami staff. It sucks to talk with, like I know people who work in, like, event coordination or whatever, and they just have to be like, yeah, bro, like, Advance sucks. Like, I don't really know what to say. Like, we can't really say it publicly, but, you know, like, we understand that these matches create very frustrating viewer experiences.
Genesis is looking mighty fine in comparison to this, and I don't know if it's just me growing out of modern Yu-Gi-Oh over time, but it was pretty discouraging because I was very hyped to get back into it, and right now I'm questioning whether Genesis might be a better place for me. But anyways, let me know what you think.
It is.
Sorry for the negative tone, but once again, coming from a place of love for the game, and I would love for the game to be played. And once again, I want to congratulate Kamal on the 6th YCS win. Insane performance.
All right. I think we understand the general idea and resonance of this video, but again, yes, it is like frustrating, it is silly, it is annoying, whatever. Yeah, it really is hard to even like describe what to even add on outside of this game is annoying and really frustrating at times. And even though I do wish it was better in a lot of ways, unfortunately, Advanced, just because it's tied down by like so many things regarding archetype design and locks and politics regarding ban lists and whatever, it's just frustrating. So that's part 1 of the video. Let me know what you guys thought about that, and I will see you guys in part 2. Bye bye.